Hello there. What is going on, everybody? We are talking about Episode 9's most recent trailer today. We're going to be talking about this ship over on the right-hand side I had initially thought was the Millennium Falcon with maybe another ship behind it or with some type of modifications. But we're going to talk about that a little bit more because after further investigation, it appears that it is not the Millennium Falcon at all. So with that being said, I do want to remind you guys about the $100 Amazon gift card giveaway that is going to be running until the first week of September. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and leave a comment on this or one of my videos to enter to win that. I will announce that one after the first week of September, and it'll be towards the end of one of my videos, so make sure you click that bell for alerts so you don't miss out. So this ship off to the side, I initially thought was the Millennium Falcon, but as we see all the other ships kind of show up, it actually looks like it's probably a lot larger than the Millennium Falcon, or at least a little bit larger, because it's more comparable to a Corellian Corvette, a CR-90 that jumps in next to it. It looks like this other ship off to the right is behind the CR-90. And the fact that it's still almost as large, I mean, it's difficult to tell just how far behind it is, but the fact that it's behind and still looks large means it's probably very close to size of the Corellian Corvette, which means that it's probably about that big. And, you know, again, it's hard to say, but I did kind of zoom in a little bit closer on this ship. And, you know, when we zoom in really close, we can clearly see this is not the Millennium Falcon. This is a totally different ship altogether. And while we don't really know much about this, there are certain ships that come to mind, although my thinking is that it is an entirely new ship and possibly a Corellian designed ship because some of the ships that it does kind of look like. Now, one of the things that I think is from the trailer, we do see this ship that is, you know, going on alongside a lot of the battle, it seems like, with Poe sitting there looking very shocked at maybe seeing all of the Star Destroyers. Out the window, we can see what looks to be a B-wing in the background flying alongside it, which kind of leads me to think that it's maybe this ship here with all of the other fighters flying alongside it, and it would make sense. Granted, this is a different background than we see elsewhere. It may not be the same place where all of those Star Destroyers are, or, on the other hand, it may be, and maybe it's just one is during the day and one is at night. So we don't really know if it's the same world or not, but this could totally be that ship, and if so, this may be a new ship that is having a lot of battles, being participated in multiple battles. We also looks like there's some type of resistance or rebel pilot also gripping some of the controls behind us here, so that is probably possibly a larger cockpit, which would kind of go along with it being a larger ship. Applying some filters, we can kind of get a little bit more detail at kind of some of the looks of the ship. Here we can see, some of the side paneling. It looks to be a little bit more flat on its left and right side, and a little bit more, guns on those sides, whereas the front seems to be flat and, a lot less detail. My guess is that this is some type of hybrid fighter or freighter, or both. Because my guess is the front is actually going to be some type of cargo bay that opens up, or perhaps maybe even a carrier. Maybe this is big enough to actually launch a couple of fighters from the front. That front section, while it is kind of muted and seemingly flat, could be maybe blast doors that open up to reveal enough space for maybe 2 or 4 A-wings to launch out of. That would make sense, if it's going to be like some type of strike fighter that can launch carriers, a small carrier maybe. We do see what looks like to be 2 guns on the top and 2 guns on each side, a larger, heavy laser cannon, maybe a smaller laser cannon, mounted on our right side. And there, if you look at the line patterns, there seems to be similar guns on the left side as well. And we also see, a large apparatus on the back, which is either some type of rocket booster or maybe some type of cargo container or maybe another ship behind it. But from the motion of this ship in the trailer, it seems like it is affixed to the rear of the ship. Some ships that kind of came to mind, the Ebon Hawk, a little bit with its kind of design, may have been an inspiring factor for this ship, especially with the guns on the sides. I was thinking very much of the Scurrg H-6 bomber. The Scurrg, has a lot. The cockpit is kind of centrally focused and higher, and that certainly lends a lot to this. As well as the Corellian freighters in general. So I feel like the Corellian design might be one thing that leads itself to this ship, maybe kind of a hybrid of a lot of different ships, but I think it's an all-new design. Now, also, as far as the rear of this ship, we can kind of see what might be, it might be dual rocket boosters. It may have, kind of outlining them here, you may have, this, a symmetric design for this ship. Not all freighters are asymmetrical, although a lot of them tend to be. But some of the ones, like for example, the Skurg is a lot more symmetric, and that was honestly the first ship that I thought about when seeing this. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. This ship looks pretty cool. It definitely seen here flying alongside of a lot of our other ships, and it's really important to point out that we really don't know the perspective, just how far back that ship is or how far close to the camera it is. It definitely looks like it's behind the Corellian Corvette, but then at the same time, that T-70 X-Wing at the front of the shot is bigger than the CR-90 there, and we know that that's not the case at all. So I think it's larger than the Millennium Falcon, but probably a little bit smaller than a capital ship like the CR-90. It'd be if anything, it would be a very, very small capital ship or just a very large freighter. So that's kind of what it looks like to me, but I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you think this ship is? It's certainly an all-new ship. What size do you think it is? What kind of function do you think it's going to have? And do you think it's the ship that they showed the cockpit of in the trailer? All right, guys, that's all I've got for you today. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I also want to thank my patrons on Patreon for continuing to support the channel. And if you're interested, there'll be links to all of my social media and Patreon accounts in the description below. I want to thank you guys again so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.